Welcome everyone to the TVB Forwards Alternative Conference. We're coming to you virtually. This is an automated TV demonstration that you're going to see for about 30 minutes today. And my name is James Southern. I'll be hosting this event. And I work for Front Row Advisory, and I lead the TIP initiative, which is instrumental to these demonstrations you're going to see. Today we're going to look at the impressions interface, which has been developed by Premium Media and MadHive to exchange impression record data between buyers and sellers. So a little bit about the TIP initiative. It was started a couple of years ago by several of the major local broadcasters to grow revenue in the local ecosystem. There was a feeling that there was a lot of friction in the way we transact today, and we needed an improvement. So the TIP initiative was formed to essentially develop standards for a better way of transacting. And all these broadcasters participate and direct the TIP initiative. So TIP has been running for a couple of years, like I said, and we've developed a set of interfaces from soup to nuts, or from pre-buy to reconciliation, to describe exactly how the buyers and sellers should exchange information between each other. And today we're going to target the impressions report that you can see highlighted in red, part of the stewardship end of the workflow that both MadHive and Premium Media have prepared for us. So what is the benefits of a potential implementation of the impressions interface? Well, we don't really know yet. More people have to implement it and experiment with it, but we think, talking to agencies and broadcasters, that agencies are very interested in tracking the delivery of impression-based media. They would like to produce client reporting dashboards that have more detail on them. Attribution partners and reach analysis partners that work for agencies and broadcasters can calculate the performance of the media. And then producing impressions allows you to optimize a converged campaign across different media, pacing, fluidity, those types of elements which are very future-facing for the industry. So I'm going to hand you over in a minute to Brian at MadHive, who's been instrumental in developing the impressions interface, and Cordy at Premium Media, who has partnered together to create this interface and the live demonstration you're going to see. So over to you to run the presentation. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to speak to you today. My name is Brian Lin. I'm the Chief Product Officer at MadHive, a software platform that uses next-generation technology to power advanced advertising. MadHive is the first and only end-to-end platform specifically designed to help television go digital. As the Chief Product Officer, I oversee MadHive's product strategy, development, data science, and enterprise implementation. My team is continually focused on building advanced products to power our local broadcast station group clients. I've been working in the media space for over a decade now in product management and partnerships at leading firms including VideoAmp, Viacom Vantage, OpenAP, and Cablevision Media. Prior to MadHive, I was the SVP of Product Strategy, where I oversaw the development of measurement products and partnerships with publishers and agencies. MadHive addresses one of the biggest issues facing broadcasters as they transition to the world of OTT and programmatic ad delivery. The issues of fraud, economic efficiency, privacy, and transparency are all waiting on the other side without the right tool sets in place to ensure the same level of experience that buying and selling television has always had. We offer customizable tools that make it easy for our clients to activate data-driven TV campaigns at scale. Our suite includes everything from audience forecasting and targeting, pre-bid fraud detection, to cross-screen attribution against our OTT-first device graph. We'll be releasing our cross-screen attribution tool for our local broadcast station groups and extension products, which span 210 DMAs and helps our clients reach consumers in local markets on any screen. We power some of the largest broadcasters in the country. We see over 80% of all US households in a 2-week time span and over 240 billion OTT avails a month. We're SOC 1, 2 audited as well as TAG certified and in process with and in process for our accreditation with the MRC. So with MadHive, sellers can optimize their own PMP and open market sourced inventory through our platform, as well as surface to their clients through an API by leveraging the TIP standard. And as each customer has a differentiated offering on top of our pipes, you can kind of think of us as the Squarespace for ad tech. And so with that, I'll tag my partner, Cordy, from Premium Media 360 to introduce his company.
Thanks, Brian. Hey everyone, I'm Cordy DePascal from Premium Media 360, and what we're going to talk about today is what Brian just described. It's in-flight video delivery, and as we kind of evolve, I'll give you a little bit of history about Premium Media 360, who we are, where we come from. Established in 2014, we are agency and broadcast systems veterans. We seek to automate and help to make more fluid the data exchange between buy and sell. And ultimately, we want to alert buyers and sellers to potential issues in their transaction workflow before invoices are issued. And that's a key factor of what we do, is to identify things that are happening wrongly during a flight so that you can take corrective action while things are happening versus waiting for the end of the campaign when it might be too late. The idea is to mitigate potential investment losses on both sides, meaning agencies get to spend their budget and are happy to collect those commissions, and the sellers avoid revenue leakage by having to give up good inventory for make goods and things to correct stuff that went wrong. Clear solutions. Clear stands for copy, logs, invoices, reconciliation. In this case, we could say invoices is really impressions. Ultimately, what we're going to do is talk about automating in-flight data transmission. Our system enables sellers to securely push through data that they deem needs to go to whichever agencies. It's all TIP compliant. It's all controlled. It's all secure. And the idea is we started with pre and post logs and are moving up and into converging that world with video impressions. So what we're working on with MadHive is to take a holistic view of your TV campaign as an agency and combine that with your video campaign, again, as an agency, and then automate that data so that it shows up in a single view that enables the buyer to see how they're pacing against their impression delivery in a campaign, or if there are issues with underperformance, under delivery, and whether that's both on the TV side or the video side. For us, it just really is a matter of alerting everyone to potential issues so that we can shift things in the right direction and move along the path toward a clean invoice. The way we do this is our ClearFlight product. What I talked about earlier is agencies and sellers using ClearFlight's capabilities to compare all the different data sets and determine what isn't working so that they can address that when it's current and when it's needed to be corrected so that we have a perfect end outcome for both sides of the trade. The solution enables everyone to work together, to collaborate, to communicate, and also to resolve these discrepancies in their own media management platforms. So we're not by any stretch a media management platform solution of our own. We complement the media management platforms on the agency and the seller side. And so how does this fit into the workflow? I'll leave that over to Brian to kind of talk through and demo.
Thanks, Cordy. So MadHive and Premium Media has partnered and as members of the TIP initiative to capture data fidelity standards across the TV campaign lifecycle. So we understand that there's a need to establish a common framework that promotes interoperability and streamlines the transaction experience. For those who don't know, TIP is a consortium of broadcast station groups, agencies, and ad tech partners as participants in establishing this open and common framework, and it started in 2017 and has already iterated on many versions. This demo will be its first of its kind, launching into OTT and CTV. And so for buyers and sellers, this means that they can spend more time on clients and innovation rather than 18-month custom projects. And it lowers the barrier of entry for technology vendors to develop into the local ecosystem. We're super excited to be able to bring to you an example of our two companies adopting the TIP standard in our respective systems. So what we'll do now is we'll jump into a demonstration. All right, so here we're logged into the MadHive platform. To orient ourselves, on login is our delivery dashboard. It shows a snapshot in time of recent campaigns that have run or are running. We also show a number of top-line metrics for the campaign managers that would like to see, as well as visualize it nicely across DMA, state, and zip. For today's purpose, and as an example, we're logged into the MadHive Sellers Organization. We'll be highlighting this campaign, Prospect Farms, a CBD lifestyle brand launching its product nationally on OTT. The buy started through Premium Media 360. When received by the seller, the planner can leverage our platform and run custom forecasts. The custom forecast will run across all 240 billion avails that we see on a monthly basis. That could be owned and operated, acquired, as well as direct deals. And this helps ensure that we're putting the best plan forward for our clients. So in this example, we're seeing an audience of age 25 to 49 with consumers, a consumer segment of caregivers across the DMA of Albany. And we're able to see that there are roughly 6 million impressions available for this plan. Once we have the creative, we can also go to the creative library and manage the creative there, as well as upload it into the platform for cross-screen measurement across linear as well. And when we have all the pieces for the order to go live, you can head over to the Manage Campaigns field, where you can enter in your campaign information and set the flight prior to go live date. As the campaign goes live, you can head over to the pacing page and see how the campaign's doing and help optimize to its delivery. And by leveraging the TIP initiative impression standard, we're able to integrate and provide real-time impressions back to Premium Media so that in their platform, they're able to see the campaign delivery in real time as well. It's also important to note that the controls are in place so that it's up to both the buyers and the seller's discretion to enable and agree to turn these switches on for the integration. So with that, I'll pass it back to Cordy so he can demo it on their platform.
Thanks, Brian. So what we have inside of our screen here is ClearFlight, and what ClearFlight enables agency buyers and sellers to do is to work on discrepancies as they arise during the flight. If you focus on the first 4 rows of data, we have 2 broadcast stations and their OTT digital video CTV equivalents. WTTA, WTTA-DV, you'll notice, is the digital video or OTT CTV record. WTSP, WTSP-DV, same kind of thing. Between the two, and by the way, this is all fictitious data, we wanted to illustrate how using the TIP impression integration with MadHive flows seamlessly into this holistic view that both buyers and sellers can use to work through discrepancy resolution. In the example in the first 2 rows, WTTA has ordered 15,000 impressions, but only delivered 9,700 impressions. So about 65% of what they need to deliver. Not terrible. It just means that the buyer and the seller need to work on heavying up some impression delivery toward the end of the flight. On the WTSP side, you can see that we've got 39,000 ordered with 39,066 delivered at 100% or above 100%. The idea being that we're able to receive the agency data through our integrations with partners like MediaOcean, where agencies are using ClearFlight for their in-flight broadcast discrepancy resolution, and also for their digital video pacing and tracking. And what that means is they have this holistic view that shows them how their campaigns are performing all together in one place. The idea isn't that the buyers are looking at this in a silo. They can work together with the sellers and communicate on the resolution and the types of make goods for TV buys, and also that heavy up scenario that we talked about to deliver impressions against the entire flight. And the whole thing is encapsulated inside of ClearFlight by way of integrations that we have with MadHive and media management partners like Mediaocean, potentially others, as they arise, so that we can feed all this data into one place, inform everyone, and take action and execute against those actions with the appropriate resolution and reconciliation. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Brian.
Thanks, Cordy. So to recap, really the benefits is demonstrating using TIP is not only that we're reducing kind of emails back and forth on campaign tracking, but it's automating all of that into a set of standards and APIs so that the data can flow in real time and reduce barriers of entries for integrations with whether that's attribution partners or dashboarding partners with agencies or clients. But it's going to be able to unblock a future set of capabilities into kind of converged pacing and fluidity.
Thanks, guys, for that demonstration. Great stuff. I love to see TIP coming to life. A question for Cordy. We've got a couple of minutes of Q&A, so question for Cordy. How do you imagine clients being able to ingest the data and use the data? Is it through premium media or is it through DSPs that they have? Where could this data land up when it moves to the agencies? And how would they make use of the data?
Yeah, that's a good question, James. Thanks. I think, when you look at agency systems across the board, some have the ability in their digital platforms to look at this data directly inside of those campaigns. But for a lot of buyers that are out there in the market, they're not exactly buying OTT and video inside of their digital platform. They're buying it in an agnostic way through their broadcast platforms. And I know that sounds a little bit siloed and old school, but that's the way it's being done in some cases. And so, however that data needs to make its way into those systems, Premium Media 360 is there to enable that. And it's complementary to what's happening in those agency systems where they don't support all of the digital components that are supported in a traditional system. And in the digital systems, there's kind of a little bit of a lack in terms of supporting broadcast. So until those things converge, Premium Media 360 has the capability to look at those things holistically inside of the Clear platform. So we're there to enable agencies, we're there to enable sellers, and to work with seller system partners who can make that data flow more seamlessly, like MadHive.
Great. And a question for Brian. Obviously, we've done a lot of work over the last few months designing the impression report and getting it right, making it a standard. So I recall that there's many suppliers that you work with. So can you tell me a bit about the machine that you use to take all this data that may be disparate, that may come from various suppliers, and turn it into one file that might go out in a streaming format or an API? What are some of the things that you undertake, the processes that you do on that data to normalize it?
Yeah, so that's a great question, James. I think oftentimes, people underestimate how much data comes in, especially from the digital side of the world, especially when we're looking at, bid information or impression information that comes in from, a number of publishers, whether it's OTT, CTV, display, and banner video, and others. And what we do is we take all of that data in its rawest form and leverage the best available in terms of cloud technology and compute technology to put that into a always-on hot storage platform so that all of that data can live and power the rest of the platform from insights and forecasting and targeting capabilities. So that then, once it kind of sets within MadHive, starts to kind of blend itself into a set of canonical formats and works its way into the tip format so that it can get out to clients and agencies and other partners like that.
Okay, thanks. So a question for Brian again. Have you spoken to any broadcasters that are interested in moving forward with the implementation? You know, I'm sure there are various levels of broadcasters, level of interest. So some are lean forward and want to move, and some are more hold back and let's see what happens. Any indication on how the marketplace is moving when it comes to implementing this?
Yeah, I think we've seen various degrees of interest. We do see that our sellers are very interested in giving more insights, direct access to their clients, and being able to kind of serve that information as an always-on basis. So absolutely, for sure.
And Cordy, I mean, at the national level, when people, when agencies like WPP buys OTT through Xaxis or another platform, they certainly require impressions to come into the platform and be processed. So I think it's, you know, do you think it's time that the local broadcast space caught up to that level of data flow and exchange between the partners? What sort of pressure is there on local to begin to change?
Well, I think there's a lot of pressure on local to reclaim the audience that's just shifted off to a different mechanism for consumption, right? I mean, if I'm looking at, you know, the lean in on a television screen versus the lean in on a tablet, and I'm consuming local content, it's still the same audience. I didn't lose anything in that. It's just, you know, how do I show it all together for the value to the agency in audience delivery? And I think, you know, for a long time, a lot of, you know, companies have been looking to join those two things together to make that case. And I think it's becoming more of an agency requirement to fulfill their local delivery using a combination of television and digital video, OTT, CTV. It's an important strategy for the agencies because of, you know, audiences that seem to be declining, but are just shifting consumption habits to different devices. So having the ability to sell in both media types holistically to a buying agency through the local workflows is a critical thing. It was critical to me when I was at MediaOcean, enabling this for companies like Premion and others to be able to have all of that data in one place against your broadcast station. So, you know, I think it's terrific that we're able to use TIP to do that. There's a lot more data and a lot more information that can come through those pipes using the standard. And I think we're going to see a lot of things happen to converge the two media types, both on the sell side as well as on the buy side, and have that holistic approach for audience.
Yeah, I agree with Cordy. I think it's going to be kind of the status quo, right? If you think about the type of content to what Cordy was saying, it's the same type of content, the same lean back experience. It's only obvious that the buyers and the agencies would require that to be able to be measured holistically. And so it's really up to us as technologists and as vendors to be able to kind of empower those buyers and sellers to be able to do their business in that way.
And Brian, you previously mentioned attribution partnerships. Can you tell me a little bit about you know, who those attribution partnerships might be working for? Is it the buy side, the sell side? How are they using the data, or how do they intend to use the data? So just give us a flavor of attribution and how that's panning out.
Yeah, we're working with a number of different attribution partners, as well as launching a few of those solutions ourselves, just to make that as easily accessible as possible into kind of the platform, because we understand that at the end of the day, for the marketer or the agency, it's the business outcomes that they're looking to drive. But from a partnership standpoint, what we're really looking to do, especially leveraging the TIP standard, is to be able to provide a format out there where the impression information and pixel information can be passed in a canonical way so that those things can be easily plug and play and lower the barrier to entry for anybody to get access to attribution partners and reporting.
Okay, yeah. And before you'd mentioned your device graph, can you tell me a little about, device graph normally comes from digital and you think of it as being cookie based. So how has that device graph evolved to incorporate television and smart TV data, etc.?
Yeah, so our device graph is OTT powered. So for one, we don't leverage cookies in that fashion. We take all of the data that we see through the bid stream and through delivery and amalgamate it together and apply statistics and algorithms that start to kind of create a mosaic about the household. And through time and through other business logic, we're able to kind of resolve against a specific household. And so we'll be able to see kind of those, the relationship of the devices within the household joined to an individual kind of larger entity. And so that then becomes the crux of joining with other data partners out there in order to enable all the sort of advanced TV use cases there are.
So Cordy, Brian previously mentioned that it's the broadcaster's choice. It's a business decision whether they provide this data to agencies and various other system partners. From an agency point of view, maybe you can give us a bit of a flavor. How would an agency think about using this data and particularly requesting the data? So is it something that many broadcasters are going to get a request in the next couple of months, or is it years away? What is that process? What does it look like? And how quickly is it going to come to the industry?
Right. And I think it's a good problem to have too many people come into the door and saying, "Hey, give me that data." But at the end of the day, the agencies are controlling what metrics are used to prove performance in a campaign, in flight, and also on an invoice. There's a lot of different flavors of impressions that can come through. As Brian was talking about, you've got first party from the likes of companies like Hulu, for instance, or even third party tracked and attribution based. Right? You can go the whole gamut. What's important is to negotiate that with your seller and agree on a metric that can be used seamlessly in the campaign to prove performance from a trustworthy source of data. And, if you talk to agency partners, they'll tell you up and down, I just care about getting those reports and having them come through easily. And so if the sellers can enable that for the agencies, I'm sure agencies wouldn't have a hard time, ingesting that, especially through the integration that Brian and I showed today.
Okay. Well, thanks, guys. I think that's enough Q&A for the attendees today. So I'm going to leave it there and sign off. Thank you so much for producing a demo for us and doing the integration. Great work.
Thank you.
Thank you.